The first award ceremony honoring women in music, which goes beyond singers and composers to include journalists, producers, presenters and stylists, will take place today. Fans will be treated to breathtaking performances and stunning stage appearances at the event, which is themed ball gowns, tiaras and sneakers for ladies and suits and sneakers for guys. The public chose the nominees for themselves for these first awards, which covers at least 30 categories. Now, for more on what patrons can expect tonight at the event, we speak to Basadi in Music CEO Hloni Modise Matau. Hloni, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us on this morning's program, an inaugural event celebrating solely women in the industry.
Yes.
I mean, this is
Thank you so much for having me.
This is so important. Talk to us about why you felt that it was time South Africa created an event and a space of this nature.
Because I've worked in the industry for a very long time, and from a young age, I've experienced how hard we have to work as females, just to get the recognition that we deserve, just to get space, and I just felt like we needed a platform that's going to create that space for us, because if we just sit down and just say, we need opportunities open for us, but not actually do anything about it, things will never eventually get to where they need to be. So through the Basadi Music Awards, that's exactly what I'm hoping to get, so that it's more than just an award ceremony that glitz and clams, but to just create space so that we get to a point where in the music industry there's some sort of equality. So that's very important to me. Yeah.
And there's something about women recognizing women celebrating women as well. Talk to us about why that's, such an important relationship to have amongst women, to say that, I salute you because I recognize your contribution to this industry and I am behind you. I support you 100%.
I mean, I think, I was blessed to work with a lot of great female artists. I've had the pleasure of working with the late Mam Sibongile Khumalo. I've had the pleasure of working with Mam Letambulu, Mam Abigail Kupega. I've worked with, the likes of V-Mesh. And I think it hit home when Sis V-Mesh, who has put in so much work in the industry to just feel the way that she was feeling. These ladies paved a way for us. And I just felt it's just right for us to celebrate them, to say thank you for what they have done for us. And whilst doing that, we then open up space to then celebrate the other artists, because everybody is going through the most, especially females within this, the music space. So this is just going to address that. I think it's so important that we celebrate each other from a moral point of view as well, just to say we see you, you're doing amazing, and we can do great things and phenomenal things when we work together. So this whole movement is just basically about saying, let's, hold hands and let's work together and let's celebrate each other in the process, because wow, right?
Something else that's special about this award ceremony, Hloni, Basadi in music, is that the categories are extensive. 30 of them. Which is amazing, because you're not only recognizing musicians and artists who oftentimes are actually in the spotlight already. You're also, giving credence to stylists and wardrobe stylists and, producers and journalists, people who oftentimes are actually in the background or behind the scenes, but oftentimes make up the individual that we so love on the stage. Talk to me about why you felt like this was an important element to also include in the awards.
I wanted the Basadi Music Awards to have an X factor. That's one. Yes, like you said, we've got other award ceremonies where it's the norm, we celebrate the people that are behind the microphone. We had to go deeper and say, there's a lot of other practitioners that make up what we eventually see on stage as performers. And these are, some journalists that contributed a lot in terms of the success of most of the artists. Radio presenters, I mean, we come from an era where it was just so men dominated, but now we've got presenters that are females and are excelling and they're doing very well in that space. I mean, stylists, all of these artists look fabulous because of the work that these artists put in behind it. So I just felt like we need to also just say we see them, we appreciate them, and recognize them. But more than anything else, it's just to show the girl child or anybody for that matter that, you know, once you get into a space of the music business, that the music business is not solely focused on just being on a microphone, but there's other career paths that you can follow. Like, you know, there's lawyers, and that's the other thing that we eventually want to get into, the business side of music, so we tap and celebrate those things. So it was very important for me that we showcase what makes up the music space in its entirety, and just to see the queens doing it, it's just for me, it's such an honor to be able to say we see them and be able to just give them their flowers for us.
I love that. All the building blocks that are involved. I love that. That's so important. You also have public nominations that are actually behind the awards and the recipients of the awards that we're going to be seeing today. That's so important as well. We've seen other awards ceremonies face a lot of backlash and controversy in terms of who at the end of the day actually receives the award, right? There's talk of politics and there's talks of, you know, other people getting involved in the name that is officially announced at the end of the day. You have solely put the power in the hands of the public, people who truly are fans of these artists or truly fans of the work of some of these social media influencers. You know, talk to us about why this absolutely had to be the path for Basadi in music awards.
I think you touched on the important part, because I mean, I've worked in the music space and award ceremonies as well, and all the time there's always that, who are the judges, what did they do, you know, all of that stuff. So I just thought, one, we have to make it light, but it must be about the people, because also it was just important for me that we give you know, every musician a fair chance for them to be able to campaign, to be able to, you know, to garner votes and support from their fans and interact with their fans. So we said it must be a People's Choice Awards. I mean, we opened up the nominations on the 8th of March because we actually launched on the 8th on International Women's Day this year, sorry. And we opened up the nominations, and then from there we closed the nominations around the 27th of May.
Right.
Then we announced the nominees. And then from there, we then said, okay, now that we've announced the nominees, we handed it back to the public as well to say, okay, here are your nominees. Vote out of the top 5, we must just have one winner. And we've got the numbers. It has just been interesting. I love how the new artists were really saying, we are going to fight for this. And the different campaigns they've been putting behind this. And I think that's the excitement that has been missing in the music space, where, you know, because there's always that us and them mentality, especially from a development artist point of view. So at this point, it was just amazing to see how much they fought to be recognized at these awards. So what's going to happen tonight? And I suppose, you know, with every award ceremony, there'll always be, but I think this one was supposed to win. I think this one was supposed to win. But right now, it's about the votes.
It remains to be seen. Hloni, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and all the best with the awards ceremony later today. That's Hloni, Modise, Matau talking to us there about the Basadi in Music Awards. Let's take a